Hi there, and welcome to my Plan With Me video. I cannot believe how fast February went. It is absolutely insane, but we're already in March, and I'm getting this video out a little later than I am used to, but I'm so excited to sit down. I'm very, very thankful and just overjoyed that you joined me today to paint and to brainstorm what this next month will hold. But I'm doing a garden theme, as you can see here. And Pinterest, of course, has lots of inspiration. But I imagined if you took a cross cut of a garden bed, or even like into the earth, what would that look like? And the best way I could think to present this is actually using some acrylics. So I have some that were gifted to me for Valentine's Day. I got both watercolor and acrylics. I think at Michael's they were buy one, get one half off. I do not know if they're still doing that deal, but if they are, it's such a perfect time to get them, especially a lot of colors, because if you're a rewards member, they give you money back. So I actually ended up getting $15 back, which I'm going to use to go buy a few more colors that I didn't quite want to ask for or request. But we're getting started here by actually just drawing out that cross section or painting out that cross section. You'll notice I'm not just using brown here. When I'm painting, nothing is normally just a solid color. And so I really wanted this to feel real, especially real to me, because I live in Georgia. And if you know anything about Georgia, it's pretty well known. We've got some Georgia red mud, or red clay is what it formally is known as. But I wanted those hues, those colors to kind of come out in this painting. That way it felt more personalized to me and my home. And then you're going to see here that I scattered some vegetables. Are they all vegetables? I'm thinking back now. Yes, they're all vegetables. So we've got a few root vegetables here. So I've got carrots and potatoes, starchy. And then I've also, after I shaped those up, I was in between beets and radishes. But I thought that the beets, because they have such a deep purple color, would not show up very well on the background, the brown background. And so I decided to go with radishes with the hope that they would be bright enough to show up. So I know these are very beginning. I'm very much, you're going to see me go back time and time again and add more layers to it as things dry. I do recommend possibly getting the right paper for this. I thought I was going to do watercolor, but I realized I didn't have white and was like, oh, okay, that's another color I need to go get. So I decided to go with the acrylics, but I'm using watercolor paper. I think it kind of really, especially that brown layer, it really sucked up the paint, so I had to go over it a few times. But after I did that background layer, it was pretty good. And I also wanted to capture here not just vegetables, but I love bugs. I love bugs. I know a lot of people are creeped out by them, but I had a dream as a kid to actually be an entomologist, which I know is a unusual term, but if you've ever watched CSI, you may have heard of Grissom. He was an entomologist, and I just thought that was so cool as a kid. And that what that is you study insects. And so the more you look at insects in our ecosystem, the more you realize how important they can be, especially with like bees. That's common to know, but bees with pollinating, and then even spiders can play such an important role in getting pests out of your garden. So I wanted to include some little ant tunnels here. And I wasn't sure what I was going to put in this big tunnel to the left, but I had deemed it a tunnel for something. And again, this is not something that, this idea of doing a cross section, this is not some unique idea. I did think of it randomly, like, oh, it'd be cool to do that because I am actively in the process of building a garden. But at the same time, I was like, let me look up this idea on Pinterest. And I saw that it was something that a lot of people have done, not necessarily for their bullet journal. But I was like, oh, okay. I could see this being really, really cool. And I had the idea of in the dirt, almost like it looks like a tunnel, doing March on it. Now, you may notice if you've watched some of my previous videos, I don't normally write the month on the painting itself. To me, I want the painting to be something that can stand on its own, go in a scrapbook, go in an art portfolio, not something that is strictly made for my bullet journal. And so oftentimes I go back on my iPad and I will edit in the month. And normally I just do it in cursive writing, but I thought that this would be it'd be really cool to incorporate the month in some way into the art. So I'm very excited to show you that here soon. And I'm just going back and adding in some highlights and things. But this month, it's really personal to me. We actually lost, and I've mentioned this to you in a different video, but I lost my grandfather, and that hit me hard. His birthday is actually in March, and it's our first birthday without him. And he loved gardening with everything. I mean, it was every time I went to his house, he would be giving us okra or collard greens or tomatoes, and not like a prideful way, but you could tell that he just got so much joy and never hesitated giving that out to others. And so this wasn't just a painting like some of the others that I've done or just something for fun. I really wanted to have this in a way honor him. But also March is the time that a lot of people start if they do start from seed, they'll start sometimes even in February. But regardless, this is where a lot of people start transplanting their things into a garden bed or outside if they till up the soil and they're ready to plant. But I have never really had a garden myself. I tried once to get my grandfather to explain it to me, and he handed me a calendar that had the full moon cycles in an old newspaper that I still have. I kept it of like when to plant based on moon cycles, which is really cool because I guess that's how he learned. And like the Farmer's Almanac, he was like, that's pretty accurate. He's like, that's pretty much what you do. But anyways, I am starting my first garden, and it is a time. I'm actually doing a whole other video on gardening, and Lord, is it fun. Our backyard has kind of been a barren wasteland for a while, and that was another thing that I admired from him, was he always took so much pride in, they had, not a crazy amount of land, but it was like their property was at least 2 or 3 acres, and even the whole thing, he always kept it mowed and would always have hummingbird feeders and things like that outside. So I just want to take a lot more pride in my yard and the land I've been blessed with, which is it's like a half an acre, but maybe a little more. But that is easily something that I can maintain. So I want to have lots of flowers and bees, and if I can draw in some hummingbirds and more bees to help with growing our vegetables, then that's something I want to do. And I'm starting very small. I'm building my own garden bed. I've been learning how to use all the power tools. I would not say I am an expert, but I love math, and I'm also very detailed and pretty I'm just very detail oriented, and I'm a planner. Hence, I guess that makes sense because I bullet journal. But I plan out measurements and things way far in advance, the materials I need. So that will be fun. A learning process, but fun. So that's great. But oh goodness, I always do this, and then I barely talk about the painting. But yes, here we are. We are painting. Here I am with the sky. You saw me fight with it a little bit. I'm a firm believer that if you don't like it, you can cover it up. That sky it wasn't capturing what I wanted to. I couldn't decide if I wanted a night sky or a day sky. And I kind of fought with it quite a bit. But usually when I'm in the garden, it's not nighttime. So I decided to go with day. And then I thought maybe I could do sunset. So I mixed a light shade of peach in there. It did not work. Did not work at all. And so I wanted to change it and make it kind of fluffy. And looking back, this wasn't bad by any means. But when I added on the radish, I wanted to say heads, but that's not what that is. The leaves, the leaves on it. I just realized that the contrast wasn't that great compared to the background. And I think that my recording is actually about to cut out because my phone died. I did not realize it was on 1%. I'd probably been painting for too long. So what you did not see from that one clip cut to the next is that I just wanted a greater contrast. And so I turned all of the bushes in the background into like these darker green bushes. I know I don't have I'm not a professional artist by any means. This is just something that brings me joy and peace. And I would like to share these ideas with you all with hopes that you may find some peace and some joy from them too, and maybe get some ideas for your own journaling. But I have, like I said, I've grown up around people who've had gardens. My great-grandfather, my granny, like they've all had gardens. So I'm pretty familiar with I want to say anatomy, but I don't think that's for humans. But what these kinds of leaves and things look like, it's not 100% accurate by any means, but with the potatoes, I was proud of the carrot tops. Those made me happy because they looked pretty accurate to what I remember. I mean, there's nothing better than fresh carrots right out of the ground. I'm going to say right out of the ground, and some people might think that's gross, but you wash it off a little, you wipe it off, and it tastes, things that you grow yourself just taste so much better. And I got so much comforting. Yeah. So much comfort from painting this. I went back and I added so much texture. Like I said, I'm a maximalist at heart, and so I'm very organized though. I'm an organized maximalist. And so I went back and added as much texture as I could. In some places I thought it might have been a little bit too much, but I loved having the rocks and the worms in there. I put a little beetle in that bigger tunnel. I think there's some beetles that live underground. I almost drew, there's these really creepy looking fat worms. They're big and white. I don't know what they are, but when it rains, they pop up through the soil. I need to look into this. I almost drew, they're grubs. I think I remember searching it one time. But they're creepy, and I almost drew one, but I was like, is this going to ruin the good feels of my painting? I didn't know. But I went ahead and I pulled this washi tape up. I've used painter's tape, the blue painter's tape before. I like using this washi tape, even though it's beautiful and I should probably be saving it for my journal. I like that it's transparent. So when I tape down my artwork, I get a pretty even line all the way across, because when I used the blue painter's tape, it was crooked, not anywhere close to even. And you'll see me, I still shape it up just a little, but I was really proud. It's only been a few months since we lost my grandfather, and so this just felt really good. And I know you probably won't have the sentimental attachment that I do to this month in this painting, but I've said it before and I'll say it again, some of the best art, some of the things that you look back on and be really proud of are the things that tie to your memories. And that's how I like to live, is honoring the people that I love and just always showing up for them. So we're going to get my candle lit here and actually start the planning process of this video. Sometimes I guess it's a total of 6 pages in this video, but like I said, I was running a little late, but this is what I decided to do. And I think I only actually ended up with 4 total pages for this section, but I love the way the March turned out. I was really, really proud of it. When it printed on my printer, the colors came out a little bit more saturated. That's fine. I think it looks still pretty good. It's still as accurate as I think it can be. And I'm like, wow. And I love how the March turned out. I almost wish I had gone in, and I can always still do this, and drew a little bit more of like some root shoots or something off of March, but regardless, I still really like it. And you'll see I printed out a lot of images. You can find all of these on my Pinterest board. It is linked in my description. So please feel free. You can scroll through there. I'm not claiming any of this art. I love to make collages. I use magazines. I use things I found online. It's hard with Pinterest because not everything is always... It's not always linked to a person or the person that made it. And now there's a lot of AI art. So I use things for inspiration. And a lot of times too, I love when I had an art journal, I'd print out things that I admire and try and learn different styles. So I'd like to look at them printed out instead of just on a screen. I'm trying to avoid screens a little bit more. But I did really love these images right here. I believe that said the world is full of little wonders, and it absolutely is. But yeah, sometimes you sit down and it feels, I guess it's the same for any form of art. Your brain just isn't computing. I did not have that problem for this month. It just went so smoothly. Maybe God knew I needed a straightforward, easy, because February I was struggling with the theme, and I guess just with everything in general, and it kind of reflected into what I was doing. But I just went simple and straightforward here. You saw me put down some different images. I print out all of these things on sticker paper. I still really, really love it. I really want matte sticker paper, but that will be a future me thing. I do not like to buy things. I try to avoid buying as much as possible. I'm actually pretty frugal, I suppose. I am determined to only spend $50 to $75 a week on groceries, which may seem a lot to some, but to me, that's making it. That's making it. But you'll see me kind of test out some different, these are I believe it's called the Minimalist Zebra, no, Minimalist, I don't know. The Zebra mild liners, that's what they are. And I really liked this copper color. And I looked on the actual label, and that's what it's called, is copper. It reminded me of Georgia mud. And that's exactly what I wanted for this. I could have gone with a few different browns, but I just did my classic cursive, which I have practiced enough to not have to draw it in pencil first. So we are getting there. And I added in just some simple washi tape. I had a pack, I think it's like 5, and it's different browns and tans and a green, I believe. I also, and this is probably the only sticker book that I will use for the rest of the year. The cottagecore one and the woodland one, they were just so affordable off Amazon, and there's so many different versions of things that I can use from this. So I pulled a few stickers that gave me some happiness. This looked like a basil plant, and I have my little beetle at the bottom. The only thing I didn't like was exactly what I just fixed. I didn't like how one line was straight and the other had squiggles. And so I met in the middle. And I actually have never done this technique before where you do a line and then squiggles inside, but it added a little oomph to it. And then I'm just adding in a few of, oh my gosh, my voice started to waver. I don't know why. Sorry about that. But the dates. Daylight savings time. Oh wow, I'm losing the ability to speak here. But it's because I'm a talker. So thank you for sticking around thus far to hear me ramble on about life. But dates. So yes, daylight savings time ends. And I don't get, what is it called? SAD, the seasonal depressive disorder. I definitely have just different times throughout the year that I might get sad, but normally I'm okay with the time change until after the holidays are over, and then I'm like, what's happening? I am very much excited for longer hours. I'm a spring and fall girl all the way. Summer is a little too hot here in Georgia, but I am so ready for sun so badly. And I know we have, what was it? St. Patrick's Day isn't also in March. So very, very excited for that. And then you will see me here. I am taking my images, and I like to go ahead and pre-plan different, I guess, combinations of photos for my future pages. I won't be adding all of these in this video, but you'll see that each of those little combinations I did has a bug, a vegetable, and then I tried to do a quote in each, but I don't think I had enough quotes, so it had a bonus photo in it. But I tried to make sure that each one had a vegetable and a bug. That way it was kind of even throughout whatever spreads I do. And this is the 3rd and 4th page that I'm working on. And yet, like I said, normally I do more. I try and do like a 5th or a 6th page. I even have the idea of doing, and you'll see it in my yearly flip through video, but I'd love to do a garden planning collage, or even write down some native plants for the season. That would be really cool too. just some different things that'll be helpful for me, and I can refer back to it when I need it for future gardening endeavors. But I really liked this layout here. I think I've only been using 2 images for my, what do I call it? My weekly spread. That's what this is. Yes. Normally I only use 2 images, at least I think I have in the past few months, but I liked this. The split up was feeling pretty good, and maybe what I do next you may think is very lazy, but I loved these labels that I made from last month with my stamps. So I don't have, if you want to see the stamps and everything I used, it's on my last video. But I just didn't, I don't know. I felt like these stamps were good because I did kind of a floral theme last time. But this also made me feel garden. And so I tried to make it different by adding these background, these green, I wanted to say cardboard, construction paper. I think it's cardstock is why I met in the middle. But I wanted to use this cardstock to make it a little bit different. And I felt like it was different enough. And I kind of ran a little out of room. The formatting of it was a little bit hard. On my weekly spreads, I kind of just write the smallest thing. It could be something good that happened that day, or how much water I drank, or how work went. A lot of times I write something about work. If it's on Sunday, it's how church went. So there could be lots of different things, or something I learned that day, or someone that I saw. So I kind of treat this to be different just depending on the day. I also write a lot about the weather, coincidentally. This is giving me a different idea too. Because one of my goals is to spend more time outside, which is one of the reasons I wanted to garden more, I thought about doing for this month maybe like a tracker of how much time I spent outside. So it's like there's a color for 30 minutes, there's a color for an hour, there's a color for 0. It would be really cool to kind of see, and maybe I gauge my happiness level too for the day and see if maybe there's a correlation between my happiness and how much time I'm outside. Maybe that would be good. I have always been an outside gal. I could definitely play inside. I had a big imagination, so I could, on a rainy day, play with dolls and everything. But if my mother's watching this, she knows that I had to always be told to go put on shoes because I would step on thorns and glass even. If you've never seen a chestnut in its whole form, looks like a porcupine. Stepped on many of those. You should go look up a chestnut, like casing, if you've never seen one before. It's actually quite frightening. And we had a chestnut tree in our yard. But anyways, I'm just giving more ideas. Maybe I'll do a bonus video, or you'll see it in the yearly Plan With Me video, of some other fun things that you can do for a garden theme like this. That would be some really cool, or those would be some really cool extra pages that you could consider. Because I just loved playing outside when I was little, and it brought me so much joy. And if you're anything like me, you work an office job, and office jobs or staying inside a ton just eats away at you. And so that's why one of my overall goals was to spend more time outside. And gardening will help with that, I'm sure. But it would be cool to track it. Okay. I'm very much so liking these ideas. And so I'm just topping off my bullet journal here. That's how you know I'm always almost done, with a few more stickers. I still disagreed with myself on the stickers I wanted to use and the placement. As always, there was definitely probably some things I had to edit out because I was out of time. There was some messing around of the placements of things. But it works out. It always does work out in the end. Stickers don't really unless you're using a vinyl sticker or something. I've never had a problem pulling up a regular sticker. I almost said stigular. But that is all for my journal this month. I know it might have been a little shorter. I hope this encourages you to possibly do your own garden theme, but I truly just thank you so much for joining me and sticking around and hearing my silly stories and things about life. I've always wanted to encourage you all to be creative and just find the little joys in life, because truly that's all you've got, is finding a little bit of joy in the regular things, the normal things in life. But thank you all again so much, and I really appreciate your time. I hope you have a wonderful March, and I'm sure I will see you again very, very soon.